Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel where we post daily videos on cutting edge technology. Are you ready to revolutionize your data analysis game? Today, we dive into the incredible world of Llama 3 and Pandas AI. Llama 3 isn't just another AI, it is a powerhouse that takes your data insights to the next level. And Pandas AI is the magic wand that transforms your data handling with the simplicity and power of Python's beloved Pandas library. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to harness the synergy of Llama's 3 advanced capabilities with the efficiency of Pandas AI to perform data analysis. Alright, so let's get started. I've opened my VS Code in which I'm going to create the application that is going to perform data analysis on a CSV file using Llama 3 and Grok, that too using Pandas AI library. So in order to get started with Pandas AI, you first need to install it, and for that I'm going to open a new terminal, and then inside the terminal I'm going to run the command pip install pandas AI. Hit enter and it will start downloading and installing the Pandas AI package. Once this is done, next we also need to install the LangChain Grok model in order to be able to use its chat capabilities. For that, I'm gonna once again run the command pip install, and this time I'm gonna ask it to install LangChain Grok, and you'll see that it will start downloading and installing the package. Right, so once both of these packages have been successfully installed, now we are going to move towards the next step, which is to import the necessary libraries from the packages. So these are all the libraries that we are going to be needing. Firstly, we are importing the pandas library, using which we will perform the data analysis. Then we are importing OS and the .env in order to set the API keys in the .env file. And then from the pandas AI library, we are going to import the smart data frame. And then from the LangChain Grok, we are going to use the chat Grok model, using which we will interact with our files. So before moving forward, I'm going to go ahead and create a new file inside my folder. I'm going to call it .env file. And this is the file in which I'm going to store my Grok API key. So I'm going to call the variable API key, and then inside it, I'm going to pass the API key for the Grok. But if you don't already have API key for the Grok, then no need to worry. Simply head to your browser and open the URL console.grok.com/keys, and you'll land on the page that looks something like this. Simply click on the create API key button, provide a name for your API key. I'm going to call it test, and then it will provide you the API key. You can simply copy it and then use it wherever you want. So now I'm going to paste the API key right here, which I've just created, and I'm going to save the file. Next, in order to load all the contents which are stored in the .env file, we are going to call the load.env method that will load everything which is stored inside the .env file. Now comes the main part. So here we need to configure our model and the API key which we have just set. For that, I'm going to create a new variable called LLM, and inside which I'm going to create a new instance for the chat Grok, which takes two parameters. First is the model name, which is the Llama 370B8192, and for the API key, I'm going to use os.environment, and the variable name is going to be API key. So this is going to fetch the variable by the name API key from the .env file, which actually contains the API key for the Grok, and will set it in the chat Grok model. And all of this information will be saved inside the variable called LLM. Once the model and the API key is configured successfully, now the next thing that we need is a data set that should be loaded inside a data frame, so that we can test our model for data analysis. So if you see on the left hand side inside my data analysis folder, I have a data set called coffee shop sales, and I'm going to use it to perform data analysis. Since this data set is in the form of a CSV file, so in order to read the CSV file, I'm going to use the read CSV function from the pandas library, inside which I'm going to provide the name of my file. And once this function will read the CSV file, the data will be saved inside the variable called data. And then in order to see if the data has been successfully loaded or not, I'm going to print data.head, which is going to print certain number of rows from your data set. But in case of Python, it is set to be 5 by default. So if our data has been successfully loaded, then this data.head is going to print the first 5 rows from our data set. So now let's go ahead and run our file. So you can see that our application is running, and yeah, here is the first 5 rows from our data set. So this means that the pandas has successfully read the CSV file and has loaded the data inside the variable. Now we are gonna use this data to pass it into our data frame and then perform data analysis on it. So let's go ahead and create a data frame. So you can see that here in place of simple data frame, I am creating a smart data frame in which I am firstly providing the data which actually contains all the text from a CSV file, and for the config I am setting the LLM to be the LLM which we have set by providing it the model name and the API key. So the smart data frame is the main class of the Pandas AI. It is used to interact with a single data frame. The smart data frame contains all the features and all the properties which the simple data frame has, but it also adds conversation feature to it. So using the smart data frame, you can interact with your data which you could not do using a simple data frame. Now once we have our data frame all set, we are ready to interact with it using the chat feature of the smart data frame. So once again, I am going to tell you that the data set which I am using is the coffee shop sales data set, which is actually the same dataset that I have used while performing data analysis using ChatGPT 4o. So if you have not seen the video, hop to our channel and then view this video. You will get a better understanding of the dataset from that as well. So now, in order to interact with our data frame that contains the data from our CSV file, I am gonna call the df.chat function, inside which I'm gonna pass my prompt. So firstly, I'm gonna say check if the data requires any cleaning or if there are any issues, for example, any missing data that needs to be resolved. And then in order to print the response which was returned by this chat function, I'm simply going to enclose this df.chat inside a print function to print the response generated by this. Now let's go ahead and run this to see if everything is working fine. Alright, so here is our dataset and here is the response. It says that the dataset does not contain duplicated rows. The dataset contains missing values. Please clean the data before proceeding. Since our dataset is very large, so it is very difficult for us to look in each individual row and find for any missing values. So now I'm gonna try asking the Llama 3, can you show me the rows having the missing values, and see if it is able to do that or not. So if it will highlight the rows having the missing values, then it will be very easy for us to actually remove the missing values from our dataset. So now I'm gonna go ahead and run this to see if it can provide me the rows having the missing values. Alright, so yeah, it has provided me the entire rows having the missing values. So for the transaction ID 115, 281, 625 and 917, we have the missing rows. So let's head to our dataset. Firstly, I'm gonna head to transaction ID 115. Here is the transaction ID 115, and yeah, we can see that for the unit price, we don't have any values. So by looking at the same category, I'm gonna provide it that value. Then the next row is having transaction ID 281. So I'm gonna look for it. And yeah, here once again, we have the missing value for the unit price. So based on the price of the coffee, I'm gonna provide it a value. And I'm gonna do the same for the rest of the rows having missing values. Alright, so I've updated the missing values in our dataset. Now I'm gonna run this prompt once again to see if there are any missing values now or not. And yeah, this time it says the dataset does not contain duplicated rows and the dataset appears to be clean and ready for analysis. So in this prompt, we were asking it to find out any missing values. Now we are gonna see if there are any unusual patterns or outliers in our dataset. So once again, I'm gonna use the df.chat function, inside which I'm gonna provide the prompt that says, can you identify any unusual patterns or outliers in the data? Which entries are the most bizarre and why? So previously we were asking it to find out any missing data in the dataset, and now we are asking it to identify any unusual patterns or the outliers. Let's go ahead and run it. Okay, so it is identifying the outliers for each individual column. So it says that in the transaction quantity, there are 0 outlier entries. But for the column unit price, there are 5 entries for the outliers. And in addition to this textual response, it has provided us a histogram as well, which you can access from the exports folder, which is created inside your current directory. So you can see that here in my current directory, now I have a new folder called exports that contains the chart. So let's go ahead and see. So here in the histogram, you can clearly see that for the transaction quantity distribution, most of the transactions have the quantity of 1, and after that the highest number of transaction quantity is 2, and the data set appears to be fine. Then for the unit price distribution, you can see that for most of the orders, the unit price is greater than 0 but less than 100, but there are a few records where the unit price is less than 300, greater than 300, and then closer to 500. So these 4 different orders seem to be the outliers because the most unit price distribution distribution tends to be around $0 to $5, but the prices greater than that are the outliers. Now I'm gonna ask it to show me the rows that have the outlier entries for the unit price, right? So this is the prompt for that. Now I'm gonna run it to see the output. Alright, so it is saying that for the transaction IDs 114284620 and 930, we have the outlier entries for the unit price. So you can go ahead and change the value for those as well in order to clean your data set. Right, so I've made the changes inside my data set for these 5 rows. Now I'm gonna comment out this prompt and I'm gonna run this prompt once again to see if it displays any outliers or not. Alright, so now it says that in the transaction quantity there are 0 outlier entities, and same goes for the unit price. This means that we have cleared our data, and once again it has provided us a histogram. So let's go ahead and view it, and now you can see that we have a much better looking histogram showing actual unit price distribution, which ranges from $2 up till $5. So this means that now our data is clean and is all set to be used for data analysis. But we need to perform certain type of formatting in order to have better results for our data analysis, which is to create a new column. So for that, I'm gonna ask it to create a new column called transaction amount in the dataset, and then use this updated dataset for further analysis. This new column called transaction amount is actually a product of the unit price and the transaction quantity, and it will be useful for our further analysis for different scenarios. Let's go ahead and run this. Alright, so here is the response, and you can see that in addition to all other columns, we now have a new column called transaction amount, and without providing it any context, you can see that Llama 3 understood the assignment and created a transaction amount, and the values were filled by taking the product of the transaction quantity and the unit price. So you can see that instead of creating an empty column for the transaction amount, it also filled it with the product of the right columns. So now once we have cleaned and formatted our data, we are going to move towards our first type of analysis, which is the descriptive statistical analysis. So for the descriptive statistical analysis, firstly, I'm going to ask it to tell me the number of rows and columns as well as the description of the columns and their data types. This is done to provide a description of what the data set is about and what each column represents. But before running this prompt, I'm firstly going to comment out any previous prompts in order to improve its response time. But I'm not going to comment out this prompt that says to create a new column called transaction amount in the data set and use this for further processing. So firstly, it is going to read the data set, it is going to initialize the smart data frame, and then it will firstly create a new column called transaction amount, and then this prompt will be executed. Alright, so here is the response. It says that the data frame has 999 rows and 12 columns, which previously were 11, and now it is 12 because it has created a new column. And then for the columns having the numeric values, it has provided us the count, the mean, standard deviation, minimum, the 25% percentile, the 50% percentile, the 75% percentile, and the maximum value. So instead of providing the description of the columns along with the data type, it has provided us this information, but we can also understand the data type of columns from the provided data. So you can see that all of these columns for which it is calculated these values have the data type of float, and then all others were having the data type of string. And because of that, these values for those columns were not calculated. So up to now, the Llama 3 is providing us the appropriate responses. Now before running the next prompt, I'm going to comment out this line. And now for the next prompt, I wanted to perform a descriptive analysis on the data set. So for that, I'm going to ask it to perform descriptive statistical analysis on each column. And let's see how it responds to this prompt. Alright, so instead of providing a detailed descriptive analysis of the data set, it has simply provided us this value, which we get for as a response for the previous prompt as well. But this is actually a part of the descriptive statistical analysis too, because in the descriptive statistical analysis, we get the mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum values, etc. along with an explanation for each of the column. So the Llama 3 only provided us the numerical values, but it didn't provide us any explanation. Next, I'm gonna ask it to calculate the overall average sales of each product category and also display it in the bar chart. And this prompt also falls in the category of the descriptive statistical analysis. Let's see the response. Okay, so here is the response. You can see that the heading of the bar chart is average sales by product category, and on the x-axis we have different product category, and on the y-axis we have the average sales. So you can see that the average sales of the chocolate is the highest. After that we have the coffee, then we have the tea, and the bakery items have the least average sales. So it was able to generate a beautiful bar chart for us, and by looking at it we were quickly able to get different insights about the average sales and find out that which product has the highest average sales and which product category has the lowest average sales. And this bar chart is actually being created because we use the smart data frame in place of the simple data frame. Now we are going to move towards our next category of analysis, which is exploratory data analysis. So in order to perform exploratory data analysis, I'm going to provide it the prompt that says, please give me a statistical summary along with the histograms for all the numeric columns. And let's see if it is able to provide us all of this or not. Alright, so for the statistical summary, it has once again provided us the same values which it was providing in the response of the previous prompt for descriptive statistical analysis and for statistical summary. And it says that histograms and pie charts are saved as a PNG file. So in the exports folder, we have a file called tempchart.png. Let's open it. So instead of histograms, it has simply provided us a pie chart showing the average sales by the product category. And by looking at it, we can see that drinking chocolate has the highest average sales. After that, we have the highest sales for the coffee, then tea, and then for the bakery items. And once I run it again, this time it is only showing me that histograms of numeric columns are saved as a PNG files. And this is a PNG file, so if I open it, then only the histogram for the transaction amount is available because it was the final numerical column. And I think that Llama 3 is only able to save one temporary file at once. So although we have more than one numerical columns, but the histogram for all the numerical column was overwritten one after the other. And the only file that we were left with was of the histogram for the transaction amount. So you can see that the transaction amount varies significantly, and the highest frequency of the transaction amount is around $3. So this is actually a drawback of the Llama 3, that instead of providing the histogram of all the numerical columns at once, it can only provide a single image at a single time, and because of that all other files were overwritten and we were only left with the file for the final column. And then for the exploratory data analysis, I'm going to provide it as another prompt. This time I'm going to say perform exploratory data analysis on each column of the dataset, and also provide appropriate visualization to represent the content of each column. Okay, so I wanted to perform exploratory data analysis on the dataset and also provide appropriate visualization to represent the content. But once again, I'm sure that it is only going to provide us a single image to represent the visualization because all other will be overwritten. This is because Llama 3 can only provide one temporary image at once. Alright, so the response is generated. Let's scroll up a bit. And yeah, for the exploratory data analysis, it has provided us quite a lot of data. Firstly, for the transaction date, we have a total of 999 records. Out of these, 2 are unique. On the top, we have this value and the frequency is 550. Then for the transaction ID, it has once again calculated the count, mean, median, standard deviation, etc. Then for the transaction time, the count is once again 999, out of which 861 are unique transactions. The top one is this and the frequency is 3. Then we have the transaction quantity, for which it has provided us the count, mean, median, mode, standard deviation, minimum and maximum value. So you can see that the minimum transaction quantity is 1 and the maximum is 2. Then we have the store ID, which is not really important. And then we have the store location information. You can see that we have 3 different stores. The first one is Hell's Kitchen. Then we have Astoria, and then we have Lower Manhattan. And these, I think, are actually the sales for each store. So we are gonna look at it once we perform the sales trend analysis. And then for the unit price, you can see that it has provided us that the minimum price for the product is 2 and the maximum is around 4.75. And this is after we cleared all the outliers. Then we have these 4 product categories. The product type are all of these values, and it is also provided us how much sale each of them has produced for the coffee shop. And then in the end, it says that exploratory data analysis and visualization completed successfully. So now I'm going to click on this chart right here to see the visualization. And it has once again provided us the transaction amount distribution. This is because all the other graphs were overwritten. The next type of analysis that we are going to perform on the dataset is the sales trend analysis. This is because this dataset is actually about the sales of a coffee shop. So the sales trend analysis might give us better insights about the sales generated. So firstly, I'm going to prompt it to explore the changes and trends in sales over time. Explore the changes and trends in sales over time. Let's run it and see the response. Alright, so in the response for a prompt, it has provided us a line chart. And from the graph, it is clearly visible sales were significantly higher on the first day and have reduced significantly as the day progresses. So using this line chart, you were able to understand the sales trend of how the sales changes over time. Then for the sales trend analysis, I'm going to provide it another prompt that says, give me a breakdown of sales by location along with some noticeable differences. And this is going to help us understand that which location provides us most sales and which location provides us the least sale. Okay, so you can see that there are 3 locations for the store Hell's Kitchen, having the total sales of $1,504.50. Then on the second number, we have Astoria with slightly less sales of $1,502. And then on the third number, we have Lower Manhattan with $1,387.65. And it has also provided us the chart. So if I open the chart, you can see that it has provided me a histogram showing the breakdown of sales by the location. So by looking at the graph, you have a better understanding of which store location has the highest sale, which is clearly Hell's Kitchen. After that, with a slight difference, we have Astoria. And on the third number, we have Manhattan. So in addition to providing us numerical insights, it also provided us a chart to give us better understanding of the response. And then for the final prompt of the sales trend analysis, I'm going to ask it that what are the best and the worst selling products, and also include some visuals in your analysis. Alright, so in the response, it says that the best selling product is 36.0. I think it is the product ID with the total sales of 150. The worst selling product is 73 with the total sales of 22.50. So let's check this with our data set for the product ID 36 and 73. Okay, so the product having product ID 36 is coffee, which is actually the premium brew, or the Jamaican coffee liver. And then for the worst selling product, the ID is 73. So let's check it out too. The product having product ID 73 is actually a bakery product. So this shows that the coffee, which is the premium brew, is the best selling product, and the bakery item, which is actually an almond croissant, is the worst selling product having the least sale. And then the final type of analysis that we are going to perform on the dataset is the prescriptive analysis. So in order to perform prescriptive analysis on the dataset, I'm going to ask it that based on everything that you have observed in the data, highlight the key insights on the key trends, and then generate actionable recommendations on how to improve the sales. And this one single prompt is enough in order to perform the prescriptive analysis on the entire dataset. So let's see how it responds to this prompt. Alright, so for the prescriptive analysis, firstly, it has provided us the top selling products by the transaction amount, which are the product ID 36, 60, 61, 27 and 39, and this is their respective sales. Then it has also provided us the busiest stores by the transaction quantities. After that, it has provided us the most popular product categories, which are coffee, and this is the sale provided by each of them. After that, it has provided us the average transaction amount by the location store, which is almost same for all of these. And then it says that based on the analysis, we recommend offering promotions on the top selling products, increasing the inventory of the top selling products, providing additional training to the staff at the busiest stores, and considering opening in new locations, and consider opening new stores in the locations with the high average transaction amounts. So you can see that we provided it a single prompt, and on the basis of that, it provided us a detailed prescriptive analysis discussing all the different aspects of the sales. And on the basis of those insights, it provided us different recommendations of how we can improve our sales and what actions we can perform in order to generate more revenue. So in this way, you can use Llama 3 along with Grok and Pandas AI to perform data analysis on any data that you want. You simply have to provide the name of your CSV file and define the model which you want to use, and then you can simply interact with it in different ways, perform different types of analysis and visualizations on it. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.